Hey, this is Trissa behind Sewing and Things, and in this video I'm going to show you how to attach the skirt on the button bodice using the turn and top stitched method. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, iron on your interfacing. Make sure it's 3/8 of an inch from the center fold or the center edge. And then once that's on, you want to press your seams 3/8 of an inch towards the wrong side, and then again by 1 inch towards the wrong side. We're going to stitch close to the inside edge. So if you are making a lined skirt, make sure you tuck the lining underneath this folded edge before you top stitch. With both of those sewn, grab your front skirt piece, and with right sides together, you're going to sew your skirt along the side seams. Make sure you do that with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and finish your seams with a zigzag stitch or a serger. And remember, if you sewed your pockets on, or if you're doing pockets, make sure you do that first before sewing your side seams, and then you'll sew down around your pocket and then back down. Once your side seams are sewn, we're now going to sew on 2 rows of gathering stitches. This applies to both the partial placket and the full placket. We're going to sew 2 rows starting at the end of the placket, one that is 1/4 of an inch from the top edge and one that is 1/2 of an inch from the top edge. You're going to go all the way around and stopping again just before the placket. Once your basting stitches have been sewn on, you need to grab your bodice. I highly suggest pressing a memory hem on the lining side. It'll make folding it under a little bit easier. So you want to take your skirt inside out, and the bodice right side out. So you're going to line up your placket, you're going to line up your skirt placket edge with the edge of the main bodice only. Now we're going to gather the skirt until it matches the bodice. I like to do it in sections, so I'll pull this side of basting stitches until this side is even, and then I'll come over here and pull this set of basting stitches until it matches. If you ever have pieces of your basting like this where the top is looser than the bottom, all you need to do is grab that top basting thread and pull it tight until it matches. Once it's been basted on, go ahead and sew that on with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Make sure not to catch your lining at all. Go ahead and just sew that straight down, and then we'll come back. Once that is sewn, so you went all the way to the end of the placket, all the way to the end of the placket. Now, if my button was any lower, it would have been really hard to sew in there. That's why you don't want to sew your bottom button until this is done. So now we are going to flip this all under, tuck your lining under as well. It's where the memory hem is really helpful. Okay, I went back and I pressed my bodice up, and then I pinned it from the front. So go ahead and top stitch that down all the way across. And if you're top stitching, make sure you are sewing 1/4 of an inch from the seam, or you can hand stitch the lining down. Once that has been sewn on, make sure to double check to make sure that all of your lining has been caught. Now we're going to remove any visible basting stitches. Now with your basting stitches removed, we're going to finish the bottom of the skirt by pressing to the wrong side by 1/4 of an inch, and then again by 1/2 of an inch, and sewing close to that fold line. For your end of for the corner, once you fold it under and fold it under, if you'd like, you can tuck, after you press it 1/4 of an inch, go ahead and just tuck that corner in and then fold it under by 1/2 inch. So then it makes sure that the end stays nice and tucked in. So go ahead and do that and sew close to the inside fold. Once you are done hemming, finish up by sewing your buttons and buttonholes. There is a 1-inch overlap for the button placement. Mark 1 inch over and center the buttons within there. Start about 1/2 inch from the top and evenly space buttons along the length. If you made the partial placket, you only will have anywhere from 1 to 3 buttons on your top portion, depending on the size sewn and the size of your button. But once you have your buttons all sewn on, your willow is complete. To stay up to date on the latest videos, be sure to subscribe to my channel, or you can check out my blog at sewingandthings.com.